on. What do you have?
I'm looking for my.
Stop.
Okay.
Stop futzing around with stuff. No, you can do it. What do you have?
She's so how fucking mean she is to me.
What do you have? Show us what you have. That's nice. I'm glad you have that.
Looking for my uniform. Okay, we'll get started. Fine.
What's up, everybody?
1 second.
Okay.
Go ahead.
What's up, everybody? It's Josh and Jess here with h.EAT Unicorns, and we're here with another very exciting round of bands and artists we like and support that aren't as good as h.EAT Unicorns. That's just the name of the show. We can't help it. We can't change it at this point. Well, we did. But we did name it, but we're not changing it at this point. And here with us today, we have Mike Hitt. Hey, Mike Hitt.
Thank you for having me.
Weird accent that just came out. Mike Hitt. Yeah.
That Pittsburghese.
I am born and raised, but I try, I think that I don't have a Pittsburgh accent, and it's like, oh, you too. Oh,
yeah.
Listen to you talk, and I'm like, oh, okay. Well, I suppose that's the truth. So thank you so much for coming on.
Thank you.
This is, look at you. You got your branding all over the place. Tell us a little bit about this.
MCM, middle class millionaire, love life, live rich. Sometimes people confuse it with money and, like, oh, you're all fancy millionaire and all that. And I know it's kind of like an oxymoron, like middle class millionaire. But, like I've said before, middle class, we got poor middle class, we got middle class, and we got the rich middle class. And we're kind of like all encumbering as far as like, what life is like. And so from that, I just created it because, and love life, live rich is, it's really not about the money. It's just about, just trying to treat people as good as you can treat them, no matter what class that they really fall in. And, not putting your value and your worth just in the dollar, but also just waking up every day and saying, hey, I'm happy with what I have. I'm striving to get more. And, I'm not going to beat myself up too bad because, I'm not driving a Bugatti, basically.
Exactly. And I think that that's a fucking rad outlook, because I think it's important, like, for people to really appreciate and own what they have before, like, you don't need to have that million to be fucking rad as hell. Like,
right.
It could be coming, but you it's not going to be there day one.
Yes, exactly. And it's like, I come from, I just come from nothing really, like I was sleeping in my car at 17. I didn't have nowhere to live at 20. And so it's like, I really just, I'm always encouraging people that it's possible, right? So MCM is really, we'll get into this, I'm sure, but, then there's MCM Studios, and then that slogan is no job too big, no artist too small. And so my whole thing is like, it's inclusion, right? Like I'm a very inclusive person, like regardless of your preference, your background, your interests, your financial state. It's like, I had to maneuver through all of these types of people and environments. And so it made me very just accepting of everything, right? And so I just kind of like want to encourage that through people, and through MCM, that's where that, that's where that encouragement kind of like has its roots.
Oh yeah. And I think that, Josh was telling me a little bit about your backstory. I think that people like you, who have had to go through major life struggles, like, you get what it's like,
Yes.
Yes. And it's so important to not be judgmental of people. Like, there are people from all walks of life that have so much talent and so much potential, and it's so important to build these people up. Like, you got this. You can. Hell yeah.
Yeah.
So that's very inspirational.
I actually have one of the old Hitmaker.
Wow. That is amazing. Wait, so you got like, what do you have? The one where it's like a black silhouette?
It was the Hitman DVD case.
What? Wait a minute. Dude, you go way back. So wait a minute. Do we somehow know each other or no?
Yes, my ex-wife used to work with Mindy.
Oh my God. That is amazing. So what's cool about this interaction is that you're a witness to the testimony of consistency.
Mm. Yeah, I was trying to look for it today. I know I have it around here somewhere, but I don't know where. So
That is
I don't have a CD player really, so I'm like I never unpack CDs and
that is so cool. I'm so glad you, man, you know, what's crazy is that was like 20 years ago.
yeah,
So just look at how long I've been making music.
yeah.
Wow. Thank you.
Yeah, I grew up in West Mifflin. You're from like Munhall Homestead area, right?
Yeah, exactly. Well, I'm not, I'm like more of like a transplant here. And you know how this area is. It's very like, it's funny. It's very, I always say this, it's rooted in generations, like West Mifflin, Homestead, Munhall, Whitaker. It's very just, you know, people's grandparents and great-grandparents and great-great-grandparents grew up here. So it's like for me to implant here, it's like I stand out like I'm like a neon, a yellow neon light in like a red background, you know?
Mhm. But you've had so much success here, and that's
Yes.
amazing. And I'm so like it's been so fun for me because I know Josh is known from the beginning,
Yeah.
but I just started like discovering myself, and it's so cool. Like you have like a following. You
Yeah.
know?
Thanks. And it's not, and you know, it's not easy, right? You know, I always say it's funny for like all the effort that I've made and everything I've been through. It's like I would like to have millions of people as my following. So it's like it's always been in my own life for whatever reason. It's always been, and it still is, this like uphill battle to succeed a little bit more. It was like it never got easy. So sometimes people, even in my following, they look at me like, oh man, you made it and you're doing good. And you know, perspective is everything, because I appreciate that, because sometimes I stop and I'm like, I feel like I didn't do anything. So for him to go, man, I got your CD from 20 years ago, I'm like, wow, I guess I have put in some groundwork at least.
Yeah, I remember like remember the Godfather and the Keith McKee Sports.
Yes,
Yeah,
yes. And
love.
DJ Def Seth.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah,
And when I was my former band, we was always doing stuff like lucid music and doing like different stuff like that, and
yeah.
Blacklisted, and who else was there? I remember going to see Wiz Khalifa, one of Wiz Khalifa's first shows at a fashion show.
Yeah, at probably like Altar Bar.
It was on the strip. It wasn't Altar. It was some random ass place. And he was like when he was just starting with the Taylor Gang stuff.
Yep.
Like me and my former bandmate were like VIP guests for this damn fashion show for some weird reason. And Wiz Khalifa performed, and I remember leaving there, and much respect to Wiz Khalifa, but that was one of the worst sets I've ever seen. I'm starting to shade though. I mean, he was young. He was just trying to figure things out. And
Yep.
And he was pretty much a hype man the whole night.
Yeah.
He was like Pittsburgh. And I was like,
Yeah.
are you gonna fucking say anything?
Yeah. You know how Pittsburghers are. As long as you just holler Pittsburgh, they're happy with that, you know?
Yeah.
It wasn't a fashion show. It wasn't like an actual show. He was like a 10-minute entertainment point of the night.
Yeah.
I remember seeing that. We're just like, this is supposed to be one of the big things coming out of Pittsburgh soon.
Yeah.
And
look how he blew. Hey, look how he blew up though.
Yeah. More power to him. Like I said, no real shade thrown, because like I said, he was just entertaining a crowd. But I was just like so confused when everything happened. I'm like, I seen that guy.
Yeah.
And that was not the greatest.
Oh my gosh. So yeah, I a lot has happened in the past 2+ decades. So
Yeah.
what's happening with you right now, Mike?
What's going on with me right now?
Yeah.
So, I still have. So I run MCM Studios there in Southside, and we've been there in my 12th year there. And I took a back seat to making my own. I'm glad you brought that up. I took a back seat to making my own music for a good amount of time to, just put my producer engineer hat on and help other producers, help other artists and coach them and record them. And no matter how much work I did for other people, and no matter how satisfying that work was, being and coming from an artist background, there was like a piece missing, like a piece of my happiness that I was just like, man, like this is awesome. I love everything, all the artists I'm working with, everything I'm doing. I'm like, but I almost just feel like I abandoned a piece of my spirit. And so 2023 for me is all about getting back into expressing myself as an artist. So I just, and it began last year where I got approached by someone who was a part of Sony Records. They were interested in a song that I had. I have a song called Night Rider. It's out now. And they really liked just my work ethic. Like you said, they took note of my following and my effort and my history and things like that. So we paired up and we put out a song, and then I put out like 3 other songs on my own. And that let me test the waters as far as, is there some interest in me as an artist again, right? Because I'm a business owner, I'm an entrepreneur. And so, getting that sort of like evaluation period was real important to me last year. And so once I got that and I was like, okay, people are like, yeah, this is awesome. You're doing music again. This is like, I want to hear what it is you're doing. And then also all of the stuff I learned working with all these different genres and artists. I'm like, okay, 2023 next year, I'm going to focus on a song a month. That's like kind of the most. And if I like for instance, I just did a collaboration with someone from St. Louis, and we're going to put out, then in March, I'll have 2 songs, but I'm only focused on, I'm going to put out 1 song a month. I put out the Year of the Beast song this year. I'm putting out a song called Heat next month, and the Year of the Beast this month. And I basically have all of my releases. They're all pre-planned up into about June. And I have the whole year's releases, but I just got to like get them in the system and get them ready to get uploaded and get out. But for me, you asked me what is up with me. I'm kind of just, I'm transitioning back into the producer artist energy just to see, like, I don't want to turn 60, 70, 80, 100 years old and be like, why didn't I take a year or 2 and put out my own music and just see exactly where that was going to go? Because here's another thing. Being a producer, there's only so, like we're in a studio, I'm like, hey, say it like this. And I'm helping people write lines, and I'm helping them pick beats, and I'm helping them do all these things. But sometimes there's just a message or an energy or something that you can't convey through somebody else. It's like, it has to come from you. And so I'm like, if I don't get out those certain messages from myself, I just don't want to regret it. I'm a very do it and try it. A lot of people, you're musicians. It's like, you get the sense of like, they're just nervous. And so they never end up doing it. And for me, it's just about working through that nervousness and being like, all right, I'm going to put out music. If it works, if it works. If it doesn't, it doesn't. And then I'm just going to ride this wave and see where it goes.
Fuck yeah. And that I totally relate to that, because it took me until I was like in my 30s to really feel like I feel confident enough to be like, here's my idea.
Yeah.
What I'm doing. And then now I have done every dream that I've ever had just from that confidence of like, knowing like, well, why don't you try?
Yeah. And there's a lot of, even the artists I work with, it's like people always say to me, they want to hear, like there's a bunch of music on the MCM Studio Spotify playlist, almost like 10 hours of music on there, and lots of songs I recorded that no one's going to hear. And people are always wondering about the music I record. And I'm like, 80% of the music I record, you'll never hear. And they're like, why? And I'm like, because the artist has these layers of self-consciousness and doubt and things that no matter what I say to them in the studio, until they believe it in here, like you believed it in there, there's nothing that I can do to get them to move forward. And that's another that's another like reason why I started to pursue being an artist again, because I'll make all this music with these artists and then it never comes out. And I don't think the artists understand sometimes how spiritually connected I am to every piece of work that I do. Even if it's not my beat or it's not my vocals, it's like I still poured myself into that collaboration for you to say in 6 months, I'm not putting it out.
Yeah.
And you can only hear that so many times before you're like, screw this. I'm making my own music, and because I know that I'll put it out.
And you have to, that has to be heartbreaking.
Yeah.
The work that you do and the passion that you put into something, and then it's like it goes nowhere. Horrible.
Drives me insane.
I can't even imagine. And that's what's nice about being just a me, because I do my things and I do the things with God Hates Unicorns, and then externally with the writing and the art and the photography and everything like that. But it's so nice for me because it's so contained to me.
Yeah.
So I totally relate and get how you need to have a you outlet that
Yes.
you control over.
Yes.
So you're releasing a song a month. You have them already in the pipeline. Is there a bigger, like, is there a full album coming?
No, so I have I have a whole instrumental album done. I have an EP done, and then I have a full album done, and I have about 30 singles. They're all done. They're all recorded, mixed, mastered. Like I said, the releases once a month. They're already in the DistroKid system all the way up to June. Everything's lined up. They're all coming out. You know, they're all ready. And then, like I said, I'm also just taking on, you know, someone hits me up and they send me a track with an open verse, or they send me something that like kind of piques my ear. I'm just jumping into that too. This year is just, I can't stress enough. This year is like about no self-doubt. And let me give you a piece of advice too, because earlier you were like, man, you're starting to get like, you know, a pretty big following. In that, now I'm ready for that. And anybody who wants to be in that same mindset that I'm in, you have to be ready for the resistance. And I think like a lot of times artists, like online hate, online comments from friends, comments from people you know, comments from people you don't know. It's like, now that I've like kind of like really been like, I'm Mike Hitt, this is MCM, this is who I am, this is what I'm doing. You know, the world, I don't know what it is, but it's like there's half the world is like, I'm rooting for you, I'll do anything to help you get there. And now there's like a whole other resistance, you know. But when you just hide out and you make music in your room and you only let a couple friends hear it, that's a very safe place, right? Like, you know, you might get one criticism, but it's like, you know, I get 7-8 criticisms a day, but now I've reached a point mentally, spiritually, where I'm like, it doesn't matter. Like what everyone says doesn't matter. There's 8 billion people in the world. And my whole goal right now is just to find that audience. It's like, that's who I relate to. I get his message. I get him. That's what I want to be a part of. And everyone who's not in that like sphere of people, it doesn't matter to me.
No, and it shouldn't. And there is constructive criticism. If you have a friend who's listening to it, who's like, well, it should sound a little bit more like this, or you should bring this up, or you should do this. I think that's very valuable.
Yes.
Like just like the internet chatter. Like
yes, it's loud. It's so loud.
You're not doing shit unless somebody hates you.
Exactly.
Yes. Yes.
Yep.
If you haven't pissed somebody off by what you're doing, then you're not doing enough.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's true.
That is true.
And it's, you know what? It's kind of exciting because like for somebody like me who never felt like I could do anything, it's like, oh my gosh, you have haters. I have haters. People,
yeah.
People acknowledge me enough to dislike me. That's very exciting.
It's like someone inboxed me and, you know, I really appreciate them for it because it's a rare occurrence. It's just like even 2 weeks ago, I got into like a little online debate with somebody and, you know, we were what I believe to be like pretty good friends or at least pretty good acquaintances leading up to that. And then, you know, they blocked me, they unfriended me, they did it, but then they sent me a message and they said, you know what? You were living in my head rent free. And I realized that, like, I'm mad at you for being you. And why should I be mad at you for being you? Like, that doesn't make sense. And I had to work out my own inner demons. And this was a message they sent me. And I was like, I told them, I was like, I just respect you 100 times more just for coming out and saying that. And, but most people on the internet won't say that.
Never. And you know what, though? I think it's okay. I think that I've had people, and we've had people that have openly criticized what we do. And now they are on board and engaged. And it doesn't matter.
As long as what you're doing, as long as what you're doing isn't rooted in hate, like that's another thing. Everything that I do is not, it's not rooted in a place where it's like, I want to see people like do bad, or I want to like talk bad about a group of people or a way of living or whatever. Like, it's like just me sharing my opinion about music or life. It's like people just, they get so worked up about it. And I try and tell them, I'm like, you're only worked up about it because like you didn't live life how I live. If you told me about your life, I wouldn't be mad about your perspective on life because that's how you lived life.
Exactly. And I think that a lot of people that are haters just want what you have.
That, yes, a lot of them. I even just saw a comment the other day, and I see it a lot more now, where there's like I don't know if you've seen him, but there's like a child prodigy. He plays like every instrument and he makes songs on TikTok and stuff. But I saw a comment and someone was like, if this is real and not staged, I'm really jealous. And, you know, I respect those comments because they're like, they're admitting, hey, like I have this emotion in me of jealousy. I wish I was that kid, or I wish I had his skills. And I tell everyone, it's okay. Like we all have, like for people to say they don't feel hate, they don't feel jealousy, they don't feel envy. You know, you do. You have to recognize it, and then it's every one of us are human. Then you have to battle that emotion and confront that emotion, because if you don't, it's going to slowly grow until that's who you become.
And I think that it's absolutely a normal human thing to be like, oh my gosh, you're amazing. I wish I was like that.
Yes.
And that's okay. But the next thing is like, well, what can I do to be more like that?
Yes. And some people don't get that far. They only just, it's just, it's like a split in the road. It's like you see something that you're jealous about, envious about, and it's like you go one of two ways. You're either going to just become the ultimate villain and hate it, or you're going to just be like, okay, how can I let this inspire me?
Inspire. And that's my whole outlook on life. And I have so many things about like people that inspire me. And I have a whole section, which is only for women right now, but I have like a weekly segment of women that inspire me.
Yes.
Because I think it's really important, because I think to me and to a lot of women, it's like you go to a show and there's 4 bands and you're there the whole night and there's no women on stage whatsoever.
Yep.
And it's like, well, why? You know, like why? So that's why, like, I specifically as myself, like I try to like, you know, push people who, you know, maybe you wouldn't always see in the spot. But it's really, really important to your own self and your self-development to admire people and be inspired by people and grow.
Yes. And not be intimidated by them.
Yes.
Yeah, you could try to be the best and root for somebody else who might be doing just as good or better than you.
Yes.
You always try your best, but you never stop cheering for those that are succeeding.
We go play shows. I always go with the mindset like we're gonna be the best band there. We're gonna put on the best show.
But we're gonna scream our lungs out for every other band there.
And like that's how you have to look at it. Be confident. Don't be pompous.
Right.
And like, and when I go to a show and I see someone who's like killing on stage, and I'm like, I take away stuff from that. Like, okay, how can I better my?
How can I be better?
Better on stage?
Yeah.
So great. I want to be more like them.
Yes. Yes.
That's
exactly. The cons. That's another thing I try to like teach even the clients at the studio or people who come to me to get mentored is like the constant learning. Like there's never, even where I'm at like now in my own career, I'm still not like, do you know who I am? Like, no, because I'm still always becoming the next version of myself.
Yes. I love that so much. And I'm sure you can relate and you can relate. Like, sometimes it's hard to look at former versions of ourselves.
Yeah. Whew, yeah.
Yeah. It's like, I'm like,
I've always
oh,
been great.
yeah, you've always been great. But I look at, like, I think about some of my past selves and I'm just like, ugh.
Yeah.
But I'm so thankful that I had the learning and growing that I did.
You wouldn't be,
Yes.
you would be yourself now if you weren't your past self then.
But I think that the big thing is that you take the lessons and you take the challenges and you grow and you be that better person.
Yeah, and keep rolling them over into the next version.
Yep. And it will never end. And I think it's okay to always look back at your past self like, oh, because you are doing better.
I mean, even past self could be as much as just last week. Like I had a day last week where I was just feeling like gross in my like perspective in life, right? And so I had to take the whole day off to just like not do social media, not make music, just kind of like go for a walk. And then like, a week later, I look back at that, I'm like, man, that was such like, I don't want to be that version, or at least as little as I can be that version of me where it's like, I'm pessimistic towards myself. And that was just now this week, I'm able to roll that in to where like, when I start to feel like that, I'm like, oh, wait a minute. Feeling here it comes, get rid of it, and then a little bit better than I was.
A little bit better. And one of the things that I tell myself daily, because sometimes I will have something that I'm like, oh, this is not what I want to be. Don't beat yourself up over it either.
Never.
In
the age of AI, right? It sucks because this is going to be big on our mental, where AI is able to adjust and become more so fast. And sometimes we forget as humans, it might take us a year, 2 years, 5 years to really develop that thing we want to develop. And so this next era of technology is really going to play on people's just self-worth, because, you could go on ChatGPT and type, write me a paper, and you're like, damn, you wrote me this paper in 30 seconds that would have took me 30 days to write. Am I an idiot? And it's like, no, you're not. You're just human.
Right. It's scary. And I am afraid for our kids. Grow up in this world, because it's just so much to navigate. It's so taxing on your mentality.
We're in the it's a war on self-worth right now. And it's only gonna keep ramping up to try to make you feel less worthy.
It is. And I think that my hope for the future generations is that there are going to be so many voices to let people know that this isn't reality. AI isn't real, and people are real, and that your worth is not based on your production.
I love that you said that, because it's kind of like at the studio, whenever I opened a studio in 2010, people said even then, oh, studios are going out of style, and then it's like in 2015, they have an article, studios are going out of style. And every year people are saying studios are going out of style. And I believe that the idea of just going to a soulless place is going out of style. But as long as you are human and you know how to like just help people and converse with people and create, that's like never going to go out of style. If anything, it's going to be more in demand to have this like authentic, experienced human experience.
I absolutely agree. I think that there's no price tag on that.
No, exactly.
It's just you can't. If we move away from that as a culture, I think that will be the demise.
Yeah. Yep.
It will be terrible.
Yes.
What do you think?
Yeah, human interaction is key. The more we don't interact with each other, the worse it's going to be.
Yep. Interaction.
That's
You
nice.
can't get that from a robot.
Well, you
Well, you
could.
could. But they're dolls too, though.
Yeah.
And puppets,
The puppet.
sock puppets specifically.
Hang on.
It might be crusty.
No, it's not crusty. It's my puppet. My puppets don't get crusty.
I love that. That's your third host.
Oh, we used to do,
I just
we used to do we used to do our little segments with them.
That's awesome.
Oh, the last one we had was her puppet gave birth to narwhals,
Oh, wow.
and we were gonna do like a whole. I have another unicorn puppet, and it was gonna be like a Mario Povich sketch. It's like a whale.
That would be hilarious. Oh, shit.
wait. What? Oh, little is there.
Where are your babies now? From a wall.
Anyway, sometimes they're a puppet.
Yes, I love it.
So what else? I mean, I know we have limited time, so I want to say, what else do you have to say to people? Like, what to inspire them to do what you're doing?
Wow.
What's your advice?
I usually say give up.
No.
You know, it's just the most important thing, and that's what I tell artists all the time, is just like be okay with imperfection. You know, and I just think that's when you make the most progress in life. And that's whether it's music, it's your health, it's your friendships. It's like, you know, I just think, especially like I said today, the war on self-worth, it's like people have a hard time accepting, you know, hey, I messed up, but I'm gonna be better tomorrow. You know, and I wish I could have did this in this song. I'll do it in the next song or the next opportunity that I get. And the more that you just get comfortable with, hey, I'm imperfect and all 8 billion are imperfect, I think you just get closer to what other people perceive in you as perfection.
Yeah.
You know, and so then you can be the source and the light for someone to be like, okay, I see what I got to do now, you know?
Mm-hmm. I love that. And I think those are such great words. And thank you so much. You are an inspiration.
Thank you.
And we're so thankful to have you on. This is Mike Hitt. If you don't know about him, check the links. And thank you so much for coming on. We can't wait to see you soon.
I can't wait. I can't wait to see. Hey, where are you going to post this at, by the way?
Oh, we're going to post it on YouTube, First Angel Media, Facebook, and Instagram.
That's awesome. I can't wait for you to put it out. I'll make sure to share it. And, you know, hey, just keep being imperfect because that gets you closer to perfection.
Exactly. Hell yeah. Thank
yes.
you.
All right, Mike.
I'll see you soon.
See ya.